All right, if it's Sunday night, it must mean only one thing if we're live right now. It's the RCWR show live. It's our post-show edition as we're covering Fallout from tonight's WWE Battleground pay-per-view. Not flying solo. I'm very humbled, very honored to welcome back my broadcast partner for this event. It's the one and only wrestling manager, Sensational. And hey, you guys may have seen a little bit of his work from Vendetta Pro Wrestling, Primo's Wrestling, All Pro Wrestling. He was also one of the finalists for the TNA Gut Check competition online. It's my good pal, Titus Machiavelli. Titus, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing very well, Lee. How are you doing?
Very good, man. How was your somewhat vacation?
Well, it was a working vacation. That's, what you do when you're an American capitalist. And I realized something this whole week. There's only one thing that the evil genius of professional wrestling does very well. You know what that one thing is?
What's that?
Everything.
I feel you on that one. That's what's up. That is what's up. Folks, we want to get you involved and talk about tonight's fallout from this Battleground event as we are exclusively live on YouTube. We're keeping it simple tonight. We're not doing any simulcast, but for those of you that like checking us out on the downloads, after we are done completing this event, we will have an audio version of this be available. So probably take about, if anything, maybe 25, 45 minutes after we're off the air, but you will have something to check out on the downloads for your listening pleasure. Post the comments down below. You can share this a number of ways. Google+, retweet it, Facebook it. It's one of the best ways you can spread a good word about our content. And if you're new, we would love to have you subscribe to us so you never miss out on all the great content we do for you here on a weekly basis. Be sure to follow Titus on Twitter at EvilGeniusTitus. You can also follow us at the RCWR Show. Titus, this was what, my friend? The second Battleground pay-per-view, correct?
Correct.
All right. So second Battleground pay-per-view, I'm thinking back to the last Battleground pay-per-view we had, God. And here's a fun fact for you guys. You may not be aware of this. You may not even be paying attention to the little details like this. But the last time we had got Battleground, it was actually in October. So I think it's kind of a smart move that WWE had kind of upped the Battleground this time around. But now I'm a little bit curious, Titus, what is going to take the place of Battleground in October from last year? I mean, Survivor Series sounds like that should be like more November. What do you think they might do for the October pay-per-view?
I can only pray that it's War Games, but I live in an alternate dimension, so who knows what they'll do.
Yeah.
War Games would make sense, though. I mean, you got the whole Authority. They would have their team, and then you'd have, probably the Cena team. That it would make a lot of sense, but I don't work there, so we're not about making sense.
Speaking of War Games, I was actually checking out the best of WCW on the WWE Network the other night. I didn't realize how short the documentary piece was. I mean, it was kind of hard for me to really get into the best of moments because they basically only talked about, my God, it felt like less than 10 moments in the entire span of WCW, and I just kept seeing Diamond Dallas Page plugging the hell out of DDP Yoga.
Yeah, I tried to do some of that myself, watch some of that in the network, and it does seem a little watered down. I wonder if it's almost intentional. If you ever watch any of the WWE countdown that they do, it's always that one WCW moment that's voted in there, and it's generally towards the bottom of the top 10 list. You just wonder sometimes if WWE is into putting down WCW whenever possible just to make their product look even better than it already was. And it was a great product at that time. I don't think you need to downgrade WCW's their contribution, but it seems that way sometimes.
It does seem that way. Folks, I know there's probably some of you I don't want to hear talk about WCW, talk about the Battleground pay-per-view. All right. We tease you guys long enough. Titus, let's blaze through this real quickly because I'm very curious what the people had to say about tonight's pay-per-view. Let's start off with the agonizing Battleground pre-show, and I say agonizing because it had nothing to do with Renee Young Booker T, Christian, Alex Riley. I actually enjoyed them. They did a really great job. It's nice to see Christian come back for a second month of a pre and post show reacting, whatever you want to call it. Nice to see him in that nice little new role. I'm hoping that his days as an in-ring performer are over, because honestly, I love the guy. Great what he did in the ring, but to hear the stories of him continuing to get concussions every time you turn around, I hope that he just plays it safe. And honestly, I think he'd be a great addition to the kickoff panel. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. I'd like to see something out of him more than just than that. I think he has a lot more talent than that. But yeah, he is the expert, the analyst over Alex Riley. I think during midway through, he talked about the 50 some odd championships. Now just he and Booker T. So yeah, I like seeing Christian there. I think he can bring some real true legitimacy to that NFL Today sort of look that you see on the pre-show. But yeah, the pre-show is it has degraded, and I hate to throw us back to Josh Matthews, but Josh Matthews, when there was the pre-show just a number of pay-per-views ago, much different pre-show. This pre-show this month, again like last month, left a little to be desired. It was mostly dark matches.
Yeah, one of those dark matches involved Adam Rose taking on and defeating Fandango.
Who?
You know, that guy with the,
that guy, yeah.
Yeah, that guy. It was a squash match, 3 minutes. I mean, I couldn't help but laugh at one of our new followers, and I wish I could remember his name. There were so many of you interacting with us on Twitter, and then there were a lot of people, I'm sure, interacting with you, Titus, on Twitter as well. One person had said, damn, I went to go get some food. I just put it in the microwave. I come back, the match is over. What the hell? And somebody, I thought, and I wish I could remember this person's name, but somebody had said something along the lines of, well, we should be grateful that we got a bonus match on the pre-show. And I told them, I said, my friend, it's about quality, not quantity, because what we got to kick things off, I must admit, I was pretty disappointed.
Oh, yeah. Well, it got worse. It got worse because you had the follow-up dark match was, of course, Cameron and Naomi, which I happened to tweet, that I had. It was time to go to the bathroom at that point, because it wasn't the quality match that I don't know. What would you say? Oh, it wasn't the greatest match of all time. Alicia Fox and Melina. If that was on the dark match, that would be a much different thing. But no, you had Cameron as opposed to Alicia Fox and Melina. And no, I will never let her live that down, because that is the number one boner comment in the history of WWE and sports entertainment.
It's so funny you mentioned the whole thing about the bathroom, because every single 5 minutes I kept hearing that, follow me into the jungle. And I found myself saying during this match, and then like other key weak moments throughout the whole pay-per-view, I was actually looking at my dog a few times, and I said, follow me into the bathroom, because for me it was like a bathroom break time, And,
yeah.
Cameron and Naomi, maybe it's just me. Titus, maybe you might agree. Maybe some of our listeners would agree. But every single time I see Cameron, I'm just constantly reminded of her appearance on Tough Enough, man. And Stone Cold Steve Austin is like, hell, sister, why don't you tell old Stone Cold Steve Austin what was one of your favorite matches growing up as a WWE fan? You say you've been watching WWE product for a long time. Tell Stone Cold Steve Austin what's your favorite moment. And she goes, Alicia Fox versus Rosa Mendez. And Stone Cold's like, hell, girl, that was this year. Can't you go a little further back?
And that's the thing, is that there's a difference between liking the product and using it for something that boosts your career. I really felt bad for this dark match, because I really think Naomi is a quality worker in the ring. She is a performer, and she's wrapped up in this whole Cameron, breaking up the Funkadactyls, and it's really dragging her down, because I think she is one of those 2 or 3 that you're going to see over the next couple of years who can be, part of this whole resurgence of the Diva division.
I tell you what, they did not go off to a good start at, physically, like appearance-wise, because, and my girlfriend brought up a very good point. She goes, wow. I'm like, what's wrong, hon? She goes, well, one of them looks like a hoe off 14th Street in D.C., and the other one looks like a damn taxi cab. And I was like, huh, yeah, you're absolutely right. The attire.
I actually saw Cameron's outfit 15 years ago at a strip club down in Miami. That's what I really felt like. And my wife, I asked her, I said, does she not look like a stripper? And my wife, behind her iPad reading her book, looks up and goes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was horrible.
Very horrific attire. I hope it switches up big time. I mean, it did not look attractive in any type of way. Cameron, it was a nice little schoolgirl outfit. She could have kind of got away for it, but Naomi, no, she definitely. Titus, it looks like, to go back on what I said a couple of weeks ago, though, I know you and me kind of disagreed on it, because my whole thing was this is probably going to stretch out to SummerSlam. Yeah. You beg to differ. You said you would like to see this just be one and done so that Naomi can move on. But it looks like, whether some of us like it or not, at least the way it's looking right now, these two girls are going to be locking it up at SummerSlam. Do you think that it's going to conclude there, or you think WWE thinks they have something hot going on right here?
Well, by the reaction of the crowd, I hope they don't think they have something hot, because the crowd was disinterested in the whole thing.
Yeah.
You have a better match in the women's Diva match later in the night. That was actually a much better match to feature than this one. I like to see get Cameron out of the mix, and you have Charlotte sitting down in NXT. You've got a return, hopefully, in the near future of Emma, and other quality. You got Bayley and Sasha Banks, and you have a very strong women's division. You don't need to be focusing in on trying to ride this last little bit of Tough Enough that you're riding out of it, because there's nothing left of Tough Enough but that, and that's sad.
Yeah, it really is. Talk about the actual pay-per-view itself. I love that first match there, 2 out of 3 falls between the Usos taking on Harper and Rowan. I want to pass the ball to you, because I remember you said something about you had a unique way that you would book this match. I want to say this before I throw it to you. I'm thinking back to last year's Battleground pay-per-view, and, I'm hoping WWE, somebody, they might get their hands on this piece that we're doing, because I think WWE has something under their nose that they don't really realize with these Battleground pay-per-views, which could be, if they do it right, Battleground can have a new reputation of, when it comes to tag team matches at Battleground always delivers. You go back to the inaugural Battleground, it was the Rhodes brothers, along with Dusty Rhodes in their corner, taking on the Shield. Remember the stipulation? If the Rhodes won, Cody got his job back with the WWE and all that. Everybody was like, oh my God, match of the year. You go to what we saw here tonight, Titus. Would you agree or disagree that what we saw tonight with the Usos and the Wyatt family there, that was definitely a match of the year candidate?
It was a slow start, by all means. I think that they've had better matches on Raw just a couple of weeks ago. That being said, the third fall is where it really got jacked up to that next level. Of the 3 matches that these teams have done over the last month and a half, going back to the pay-per-view last month, following night on Raw, and of course tonight, this, in my opinion, this will be the third best of the 3. But that last third of this match was really, really good. I think part of that first part, the first few falls, were a little slow. It was a slow build up to it. But I would have booked it completely different, as I said early on. I would have booked the first fall just as it was. I would book the Wyatts to go over first. I think that makes sense. It has that whole build to the good guy tag team working their way against the odds. It just seemed that second fall came really, really quick and was a little sloppy. You saw Harper kind of rolling a little bit. It almost didn't look like a real 3 count. It was a little quick. I actually would have maybe done something. I would have made the Wyatts look even tougher by maybe they beat down the Usos and get disqualified, making them look tougher, making them look stronger, making them look like they've got nothing to do, a little recluse, instead of a quick little cheapy steel win. I get probably why they did that, but it was really quick why they did that. And then, of course, I would have booked the match completely different. I would have booked the Wyatts going over tonight, but instead we have the Usos retaining the tag team title. And I'm big on the Usos. By all means, if you listen to this show, you know that I'm big on them. I just think it would have made more sense to have the Wyatts go over, but maybe there's a build to SummerSlam still.
You know, past couple of months I've been looking at Harper and Rowan, and I mean, there's no denying that these guys, they got it. I mean, all the way around. And I've seen these guys past 2 pay-per-views. I'm booking them to win the daggone tag titles. So for me, I'm a little disappointed that it didn't happen, but then at the same time, I'm constantly reminding myself, and I hope that a lot of you guys that was expecting for these guys to come out as champions and some of the other results that came about, which we'll get into in a little bit, I'm hoping that you realize that Battleground is still proving itself. This is still a relatively new pay-per-view. Not that many of the fans are very familiar with it, and you know, I hate to remind you guys, but in all honesty, we got to be honest with you all. Anybody that knows their WWE pay-per-views knows that the inaugural Battleground pay-per-view Titus, it did not do that well. It did like at least 114,000 pay-per-view buy rates, making it the lowest WWE pay-per-view, second in like history. I think number 1 still goes to the 2006 or early 2007 ECW December to Dismember, which ultimately had led to Paul Heyman getting fired because that was his whole shebang and all that. So, you know, for the way I kind of looked at this pay-per-view Titus, it was kind of like, okay, well, even though we didn't see Harper and Rowan get the tag titles, Battleground is still an unproven pay-per-view. We got SummerSlam. If the trigger is going to be pulled, why not do it at a much bigger pay-per-view that's definitely going to get the buy rates? SummerSlam.
Well, it's always going to be the head 4. The Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. The first 4, the big 4, and Battleground is the setup for SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. So in the scheme of planning a card and planning a schedule of events, nothing big goes off on this. I mean, it's always going to be one of those big 4. You wouldn't put Lesnar and Cena at Battleground, really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. It would be a SummerSlam or a Survivor Series. So Battleground being put here is a tough position for a pay-per-view because it is a transition to carry on that storyline to the next big event that is to follow, whether it be SummerSlam or even Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. So it did its job. It was a good pay-per-view. I would have given it probably a 7.5 out of 10. Good pay-per-view, solid. I don't think there was a match on here that I wasn't watching intently. But yeah, it's tough place to be in for a pay-per-view.
It is. How about Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins brawling throughout the entire night? I mean, that was just must-see TV. I must admit, I was at the edge of my seat right there. And for those of you that didn't see the pay-per-view tonight, you really would have enjoyed what was going on with Rollins and Ambrose, because at one point we see Ambrose, he's backstage, he's being interviewed, he's talking about how tonight's probably going to be his night, he's looking to cash in the briefcase. All of a sudden, wham, he gets attacked by Dean Ambrose. These guys are going back and forth. Triple H comes up with security, and Triple H puts out a tweet afterwards as he had Ambrose kicked out of the building. If you aren't following Triple H on Twitter, basically he said something along the lines of Dean Ambrose's actions, it's inappropriate, he's been kicked out of the arena. So you're like, okay, so I guess this means Ambrose versus Rollins is off. Later on in the night, we see Rollins return. He basically tells the announcer and the referee to proclaim him victorious as a result of Ambrose being reckless and being thrown out of the building. They went on ahead and they did that. Somehow, Ambrose managed to get past security and a ton of other people. He did come through the fan section, did he not?
Well, I tell you, I'm not going to buy a ticket to a live event anymore because it's clearly the easiest thing to do is to sneak into a pay-per-view event.
Yes.
It happens all the time. So yeah, no more, Lee. We're gonna go to WrestleMania. You and I this coming year. We're just gonna sneak in. It's easy to have happen.
I mean, seriously.
I like the whole thing because at first they're going, well, gosh, it's only Battleground. Why are you putting this match on? This is a big quality match. And so I like the way that they kind of gave you an appetizer to this as opposed to the full match. Mm-hmm. But what I'm really getting tired of is this, he's kicked out of the arena, and yet there they are. This happens often in professional wrestling, and it's stupid. Why wasn't there was back in the Attitude Era, Mr. McMahon would have Stone Cold Steve Austin arrested and taken off in handcuffs. Dean Ambrose should have been arrested and handcuffed and taken away, and then that would have been more real. Would have been more realistic to me than I'm kicking him out, but yet he finds his way back in the through the food shaft or whatever it is that they come into. But it was really interesting the whole night, seeing them battle the whole night.
I agree with you 100%. And as soon as you had said the whole thing about Dean Ambrose getting arrested and all that, I just had this big brainstorm. You could have really hyped it up on Raw the next night, talking about how Dean Ambrose got arrested and all that. Seth Rollins could have been talking some mad game or whatever. And then, poof, all of a sudden, you see David Otunga come out, and you're like, where the hell has this guy been? Well, then, most of you all that don't know David Otunga, you probably be like, who? Because that's how long he's been off WWE programming. But basically, the whole point of David Otunga coming out, he could basically say, look, I actually represent Dean Ambrose, and I actually have a prepared statement from him. Just basically, it says in a nutshell, Seth Rollins, we're not through, not by a long shot, and David Otunga representing Ambrose, he could have said Ambrose is out on bond or whatever, and then maybe we could have seen Otunga kind of brush heads a little bit with Stephanie and Triple H, and basically, to sum it up, the reason why Ambrose would not get any jail time or whatever was because at the time that all this was going on at the pay-per-view, Titus, Dean Ambrose showed up to the event as a WWE employee. He was scheduled for a match. If anything, they should have said that, it could have been an unsanctioned match or whatever. Basically, some loophole, Dean Ambrose would have been out in the clear, and that basically would have forced the authority, and maybe this is still going to happen. I mean, SummerSlam's right around the corner. Maybe this is still going to happen, but the payoff would be an unsanctioned match. Anything goes between Ambrose and Rollins. Now, do you think that might happen?
Well, I think an unsanctioned match, absolutely, that's something that could happen. Some kind of a falls count anywhere, last man standing. I'm sitting there watching these two guys, and we know these guys are very good friends in real life, and something magical happens when you have two guys who have such a relationship with one another, and they get to do this whole program together. I go back and I think about when Shawn Michaels made his return after 4 years. Him and Triple H had some phenomenal moments at that point, because I want you to look great, and you want me to look great, and it's great, and it's magical. So these guys are going to have this match that will inevitably happen at SummerSlam is going to be incredible, because the two of them like each other so much in life that they want each other to look good in this match, and they're both superb talents, and it's going to be a blast to see when this goes off in SummerSlam.
It is. He's Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders here. You're checking out the RCWR show live. Right about now, folks, for those of you that's going to be seeing the recording of this, you're going to see an ad break. Hang tight for a few seconds. We're going to continue on with the rest of the talk of tonight's fallout from WWE Battleground. We'll be coming right back. All right, and we are back. Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders here. You're checking out the RCWR show live. We're talking Fallout from WWE Battleground. Next up, Titus, you were talking about this match. I agree with you 100%. Better than what we had saw during the Battleground pre-show, which was AJ Lee defending her championship against Paige. Walk us through this match. Walk us through your thoughts on this match overall.
I think it was a good match. I think that you see these two women who are going to probably be doing battle for the next couple of years, as long as AJ sticks around. But it was a little slow paced, a little methodical. You see some very some great moments. I think the ending portion was really nice. You had AJ going into that Black Widow submission she has. Paige pulls out of it, does that Paige turner, gets that short, almost 2.5 count. I was a little confused by the ending, and it looked as if perhaps that maybe there was a botched at the end there, maybe that AJ was supposed to do a roll-up, and all of a sudden it was just that Shining Wizard kick. I'm not sure. It just looked a little off to me. But it was a solid match. I'd say it was a 6.5. Good match. I think these two can put on some really. I expect some great matches from these two. But this, I think it's a slow transition for Paige. She's getting during the match. You see her start to show some real frustrations, and I think you're going to see her, as predicted on this very show, turn full on heel. And see that more of a evil sort of Paige, which I think would be more up her alley than the goody-goody Paige.
I think it's a really good move to have AJ and Paige feud, because I'm really hoping, and this is probably the way WWE is maybe looking at this, the creative department that is, they're probably looking at this and they're saying, there's a certain level that we want for Paige to be at, especially the next go around. We decide we want to put the Divas Championship on her, but we need her to have the right type of dance partner. I can't help but go back to the Caitlyn Shoot DVD that she did with, I believe it was RF Video a while back, and she was talking about what it was like to work with AJ, and Caitlyn had like nothing but good things to say about AJ, how much of a horseman she is as far as her work ethic and all that. So I think it's really a smart move having Paige team up with AJ. I saw just little things in this match that lets me know that Paige is off to a good start, because one thing that I noticed when AJ had her Black Widow finisher wrapped around Paige, Paige did something that I really haven't seen her do since she's come up the main roster and she's worked with other girls, Titus, and that's she finally legitimately sold somebody's move that they were putting on her. Normally she just, okay, they hit me and there's no emotion, there's really not anything. But here, she was screaming and just all those little things that she was doing throughout the match. I really love it. I think she's off to a very good start. And I dare say I hope that these girls can continue on past SummerSlam, because I think they have something golden right here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be something that goes. I think you're going to see that full transition take place at SummerSlam. I expect these two to battle up again at SummerSlam, and maybe you'll see. I don't know if you see a title change, but you may see that full transition for Paige as the heel character, and I think people want to cheer for AJ, so WWE doesn't. I think they want her as the baby face of the Divas division, and that's the right call to make. And I was really surprised. I have to say that there were little, if no, Phil Brooks chants tonight, so that was a real positive. And it always happens during AJ's little segments there, so I was positive to see that maybe Tampa isn't living in the past under Phil Brooks, but when I say Phil Brooks, I talk about CM Punk. No chance for him tonight during AJ's match, which is good because it's disrespectful to AJ and it's disrespectful to the Divas who are working their ass off in the ring.
I don't know, Titus. I could have sworn I heard a little bit of chants going on.
Not much. Just a little. It was a small. It wasn't one of those large You know, it was very small. It wasn't very much at all. Unless I missed something, I didn't catch
It wasn't as
a
bad. No.
big chant.
Yeah, it wasn't a big chant at all. Did you see the guy that I was telling you about?
No, I looked and I never saw him.
Okay, let's put this little challenge out there to some of our peeps then. To those of you that watch the Battleground pay-per-view, you may have noticed that from time to time at key WWE events, there's like this tall, skinny white guy. He's got a goatee, kind of like mine, but it's dark brown. He's got short, dark brown hair. And his trademark is he wears a white blazer, and it's got these cool WWE logos on it. I've seen him the past few events I've gone to at the Verizon Center. I'm trying to figure out, who is this guy? Does he have a show or what? I would love for me and Titus to just do an episode where we're kicking back and we're chatting with him because, number one, this guy seems to always have some very solid seats. Every single time I see key WWE events, like whether it's the final Raw before a pay-per-view or key pay-per-views, he's always there. I dare say he's almost at every single WWE pay-per-view. So I don't know if maybe he's on the payroll or what. Always I see a little family of three. Now, you probably recognize this family when I describe them to you, Titus. There's an old white guy with a white beard, glasses. He usually has a camera, and he's with his wife who has blonde hair, and they got a son with them. Familiar with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are always. I'm like, who are they related to? See, like every single time I turn around, they're also at those events. I'm kind of trying to put my detective hat on and figure out who's who there.
There's those super fans that you see. There's the Brock Lesnar guy.
Right.
There's the Sign guy. Who haven't seen the Sign guy much lately. I hope he's all right. But yeah, you see those sort of super fans. Dare I say, like, groupies or deadheads or whatever they are, these, for WWE. But yeah, you see them around. How'd they get front row seats all the time? I can't figure that out myself.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because like every single time I go to a WWE event and I hear Justin Roberts say, all right, next time we're going to be back in the area, blah, 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 blah. You can get your tickets right after the event is over. I'm like, okay, great. And by the time the show is over, I'm still sitting there in my seat, and I'm like, I've got the one up. Damn, I can't get near the hard camera section because the seats are already gone. I'm like, what is the secret, But, hey, it's all good. Let's talk about Rusev versus Swagger. I mean, this was, for me, despite what's been happening in the Ukraine and all that, I said to myself Rusev was going to pick up the victory, but my whole thing was, okay, he gets past this night, what's going to happen afterwards? And obviously, based on the finish to this match, Titus, as Rusev, he put a hurting on Jack Swagger. It's ended in a way where it's obvious this feud isn't over between these guys, not by a long shot.
Well, I agree completely, but as I usually do when I see a Rusev match, I have to pause and stare at Lana. I don't know what she says. I like to watch her on mute. No, I'm kidding. I think she's a tremendous. I was having trouble with Twitter tonight. I don't know if it was just me, but I was trying to tweet out earlier. She's an incredible manager. She's a manager in the sense that she does everything a manager does. She happens to be beautiful, so she's eye candy on top of it. She really helps get Rusev over. I was a little concerned with recent events in the Ukraine. They danced around that moment, which was a little bit pushing the line. And you want to push the line sometimes, but they seem to be a little bit too much pushing the line there. But I got to say, if anyone ever can get to the inner circle of WWE, stop hanging the flag over the ring. It gives away the finish. It ruins the match. It takes away the illusion. This flag, and there's tweets tonight. I believe I retweeted if you saw it. There's people in the arena taking pictures of the flag that is lowered down, and it's in a little box, and it kind of takes away. So they got to stop doing that. Otherwise, you're not selling that whoever Rusev is fighting is going to win.
you know, it's really hard for me to get into Rusev, the character. I'm very pleased with just the position that Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter are in, mainly Jack Swagger, because I will jump out there. I'm actually a fan of Jack Swagger, despite the few little troubles that he's had uh, over the years. I'm actually a fan of his, and for me, it's nice to see him finally be involved in like a main story arc that he can just really, really get involved in. I mean, now we see that Jack Swagger has a T-shirt. It's got the whole "Put your hand over your heart" drawn on it, and that should probably sell for those that love their politics and they're a little bit conservative and all
But
that.
you see, the problem here's Jack Swagger isn't selling T-shirts. Jack
No,
Swagger isn't selling. It is 100% Zeb Coulter.
it is.
And for people to sit there and say, and I know I'm a wrestling manager, so I've probably got skin in the game, but I had that whole Restore the Manager project because you can take a guy with little ability to get himself over. He's a good worker in the ring, a little rough, a little, not great. He just can't get himself over. This doesn't go on without Zeb. Put your hand over your heart, and in one clear voice, we the people. It doesn't work without Zeb. And so that's where we're getting. This is really Zeb Coulter versus Rusev, and Jack is to go along for the ride. And you're right. It just seemed to. I don't know. The ending seemed. It made Rusev look weak by sliding back in and getting the count out on Jack Swagger. You build up this guy to be this monster, this destroyer, and he just slides back in the ring. But then they follow up with him destroying Jack. So what does that lead? I think that leads to SummerSlam. There's some red, white, and blue something or other, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For me,
But is Swagger the guy that ends the undefeated streak? Does Swagger end it, or is it the next guy or the next guy? And who is that next guy?
I think it's going to have to be Jack Swagger, and unfortunately, I'm only saying that because I'm thinking back to when we had Muhammad Hassan. Muhammad Hassan was the best damn thing since sliced bread happening for the WWE back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And I mean, every single time that guy opened his mouth, I mean, you couldn't help but be pissed. You wanted to throw something at the TV. If you met the guy walking down the street, you wanted to kick his ass. That's how good he was.
It ruined his career, is what it did.
It ruined his career to a certain extent. And I remember when the bombings in London had went down, I mean, that quickly, it just took a matter of weeks, but you had the FCC, you had certain organizations, they were just hounding on WWE, and they were hounding on the Muhammad Hassan character, and eventually Muhammad Hassan, he just disappeared. And last I heard, he's been doing a really good job as a personal trainer. I think he has his own gym and all that. He hasn't been back in wrestling since. He just said, okay, all right, I'm out of here, bye. Of course, Davari, he's continued on. He's done fairly well in independent circuits and all that, was involved with TNA briefly. But my biggest fear, Titus, is that because of what's happening overseas, WWE is going to get intimidated, and they're going to go, oh, well, we kind of need to leave this thing with Lana and Rusev because we don't need the press. And we've seen them back down before, Titus, when Glenn Beck got involved with Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger there, and we saw them at their best. Mainly it was Zeb Coulter, once again, who was carrying the workload, but we saw them do that infamous promo, hello, my name isn't really Zeb Coulter, my name is Dutch Mantel, and his name is Jack Swagger. It's like, really? Do we have to get to that point? You got eyes watching your product right now. You're being talked about all over social media. You're being talked about on networks that would never give the time or day to a wrestling product. Keep doing what you're doing. It's all about good PR, right? Any PR is better than no PR.
Yeah, I just don't want them to push too far. I mean, when you talk about what happened, at the end of the week with this Malaysia airline. They danced around that tonight, and that's just going to be considered bad taste for most people, and it should be, because people lost their lives in this whole thing. So you got to be very careful on how you play that. This can go and have little to no effect on, to go to the extremes that we were talking about with Muhammad Hassan. It's an easy angle that played out very well in the late 70s and early part of the 80s with Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov and Hulk Hogan and Corporal Kirchner and all those. It's an easy gimmick to do. It's relevant. It's topical. I gotta be honest. I was drinking my Coke Zero, and when Lana said, "We call your president a wuss," when she said "wuss," I actually breathed in my soda, laughing so hard because I thought it was pretty funny the way she said that. Because I sometimes you wonder. Anyways, not to get political, but it just made me laugh. But it's a good angle, and we can see it run. My issue goes to Jack Swagger is honestly nobody. He has no, he was a WWE World Champion. He was a Money in the Bank, but overall, he's done nothing in the last couple of years. So he's not. I don't see him being capable of ruining this Rusev streak. Yet I don't see who's the American hero to do so. I think there's the problem that they have in this situation. They've built this real heat in a topical, political way, but you don't have Sergeant Slaughter. You don't have Hulk Hogan, and that's the problem.
Well, I tell you what, if they really want to be done with this Rusev character and everything that's attached to it with what's happening overseas, then I dare say after SummerSlam, they go on ahead and they have him challenge John Cena for the championship. That'd be a good way to send Rusev home packing if they want to try to repackage him. I mean,
but I don't want to get rid of it. I think it's a good hot angle. I like the whole Dolph Lundgren, Brigitte Nielsen, Rocky IV look. Personally, I'm into it.
Yeah,
I think it's great. But there's no Rocky, and I don't know where you find him. I don't know who it is. There's nobody in NXT that gives me that impression. There's nobody former WWE superstar they can bring back to do it. I just don't see what the end game is.
The end game is 2 words: Kurt Angle.
I gotta be honest. I never thought that, but it's only September when his contract with TNA ends.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it, Lee Sanders, I think you just hit something.
I think I did too.
I think you just hit something. Can you imagine that SummerSlam comes and goes, and whatever follows in September, and at some point in late September, early October, Lana's out there talking about destroying everybody, and then that music hits.
Mm-hmm.
That will pop a crowd like no other.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be at a pay-per-view. Although you can see it happening on Raw. You know what? Damn it, that's a great. If they've got that far, if they're looking that far ahead, Kurt Angle would be the guy to come in and do so, because he is a true American hero.
Yeah, a real American hero at that. I mean, they can even borrow a little element from TNA, have Kurt Angle get into the ring, just eyeball Rusev. They just going at it, awkward silence, just take in the whole moment, let the fans cheer, soak it all in, and then Kurt Angle just gives Rusev a headbutt, and they just start going at it. That would be really sweet, man. That'd be really sweet.
And for Kurt, he has to be in legacy building mode. I mean, if I'm Kurt Angle and I'm at the end of my career, we know he doesn't have very many years left. Right. He needs to worry about his legacy and what he leaves behind. I know why he went to TNA. There's a lot of reasons. He stayed one contract too long because what he was hoping to do didn't happen. He didn't build a quality second company. He built a glorified independent company.
Yeah, he did.
So I hope he comes back. I do.
Me too. I want it to come full circle for him, no doubt. You know, one thing.
With the recent spotting of a former TNA star on WWE television last week, the door might be open for him to follow suit.
I almost forgot, Titus. We saw a brief cameo there from Mike Rotunda, Jamie Noble boy. Woo!
Jamie Noble, Fit Finlay. We saw. Gosh, I had it. I'm curious though. Who's these big bald guys were? 'Cause at first, my first thought was the Harris twins being recycled from those days, but apparently that wasn't them. Who's these bald, almost twin-looking guys walking Seth Rollins to his car? And that leads us to where we are now. The fourth match was, of course, Seth Rollins being declared the winner by. By forfeit, and he beat Dean Ambrose. And as he's leaving the arena and escorted by Tweedledee and Tweedledum, he's all good. He can handle himself. And of course, out of the trunk, which I loved. I love the fact that Dean was hiding in the trunk of a car, comes up from behind, and it continues to have that battle between these two. So we didn't get a match out of him, but we got some great action and some great build for what is going to be a stellar match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm pumped up for that too, man. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, one-on-one, no more excuses, SummerSlam. WWE, shut up, take my money. I want to see it go down.
And to let you know that Ambrose versus Rollins versus Ambrose was trending at one point this evening as well. So people want to see that. There's definitely something to see there.
Yeah, there is. We want to thank those of you for checking us out right now. You're hearing Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders here. You're checking out the RCWR show live. If you're enjoying our recap and review, please go out of your way. Make sure you give this piece a thumbs up. You can also share this a number of ways by Google Plusing it, Facebooking it, retweeting it. Be sure to follow Titus on Twitter at Evil Genius Titus. You can also give us a follow at the RCWR show. Titus, let us talk about Chris Jericho versus Bray Wyatt, man. That was, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. But, I kind of can't help but feel a little bit frustrated with the end result because I was really pulling in there for a Wyatt victory.
I'm one that said that John Cena should have lost to Bray Wyatt the third and final time they fought. I kept hearing over the last couple of weeks. This is Jericho. He comes in, he puts young talent over. Cena buries people, and then you see Jericho get the clean victory, which would be great if it was the final match between the blowout match for these two. But it was the first match. I'm confused by it. I don't understand the Wyatts are over, and I don't know if they don't want them over. They want them to be completely healed up, and they're over. You got to find they're not heels, but they're not faces. They're a true tween, and we're not seeing these guys get any traction. And damn it, they need to be because they are truly, truly, truly over with the fans in a major way. And the match was good. I agree. They had chemistry. There was a serious botch by Bray Wyatt. At one point, he actually dropped Jericho. I tweeted this out, and I believe what I saw. You have a veteran who's done it all in Chris Jericho. We all know he's a Hall of Famer. He's done it all. And you have a young guy in Bray, and I think Bray was. It looked like he was going too fast. He looked to be moving really fast, going through. And it happens to guys, especially young guys, to get a little jacked up, get a little excited. And my God, he's facing Chris Jericho. This has got to be something that gets you excited and why you're in wrestling in the first place. I think that the match got better towards the end. I would imagine Jericho felt it being fast-paced and too quick, and slow down, take a breath, relax. I think that was part of it. It just seemed rushed in some way, which is why Bray dropped him and going for a move. He just got himself a little bit too up. These guys got good chemistry. Jericho came back for this guy, for this match. So I think that you're going to see some good stuff to go on. I don't think this is the end of it by any means. I think once they start to have some better, the chemistry is there, the ability is there. It was just a little off, but a good match.
They got to do a trade-off, though, at SummerSlam. I mean,
yes.
I'm led to the impression that SummerSlam is going to be a rematch between these two, and you definitely have got to justify this Jericho victory by having Bray Wyatt win on a really big stage in SummerSlam. So I'm definitely looking forward to the second act. As we all know,
Bray loses and he's buried.
Yeah, exactly.
He's buried. It's over.
Yeah. They need to learn from the mistake with Wyatt and John Cena and make sure that they don't drag this out like that. Just if you're going to do a best 2 out of 3 or, go ahead and do it. But you definitely got to make sure that you have Wyatt. When it's all said and done, Jericho's temporary, okay? You got Bray Wyatt. He's going to be there for some years to come. You definitely got to make sure that you continue to build him up properly. But I can tolerate the Jericho victory for now, knowing that Monday night Bray Wyatt's going to own Jericho's ass. I can see it now. He's going to do the Sister Abigail and all that, and boom, we're going to be right back at square one. So it's all good.
It's the combination of the Usos over the Wyatts and then Bray losing later in the night. It's 2 pay-per-views in a row in which you just don't see. You don't see any payoff for these guys, and I don't understand why. It's not an original gimmick by any means,
right.
But it's done so well. It's done so well. He's believable. I accept the character. I accept the premise. I just think, like I said 2 weeks ago, I think that maybe a new member maybe can freshen it up, something that give him somebody new. Maybe Bray's cousin or Bray's brother or something to just kind of get them a new look and get them something new going on, because they're just getting lost.
Looking ahead to SummerSlam, do you see that event being a night for the entire Wyatt family?
It should be. I mean, you should see new tag team champions and a victory over Jericho. Yeah, it'd be on a very big. It would be on the second biggest stage of the year. I mean, we all know WrestleMania is WrestleMania. However, SummerSlam is the halfway through to the next Mania. There's their little access at SummerSlam. It is as big as it can get and not be Mania. So yeah, I mean, if that's what they do, I hope so. Because I think these 3 guys, especially Bray and Luke Harper. Luke Harper is a stud, and he does his. He's a big brooding guy, but he can move. He does that suicide dive really well. I'm big on Luke Harper. So I like to see these guys. I didn't want them against Cena yet. It was bad timing to put them against Cena, because it kind of took what was growing and it kind of cut some of that underneath, and now they're just spinning their wheels. So
yeah.
I'm frustrated by it as a fan and as a pure, a guy who has booked matches, and a guy who it frustrates me to see guys who are talented, over and kind of stuck in that mid-card status. You have to see a guy make his way up to that next level, and I don't know what they're going to do that, or if they are going to do that. And they should do it, because it's a nifty little gimmick. I like it. I think it works with the fans. You got 5, 6, 7, 8,000 cell phone lights going off when they walk out there. What's going on?
Speaking of like being stuck in purgatory, the 20-man battle royal match. I mean, uh, I have a headache just thinking about it. But for those of you that didn't see it, Miz is your new Intercontinental Champion. Titus, I really was under the impression, because I believe I chose two people for our Call That Match edition. I believe I had went with Bo Dallas, and then I said if Bo Dallas doesn't get it, maybe look for Sheamus to get it, because maybe they would be looking to phase out the United States Championship and kind of get back to basics. Just let there be like 4 belts that you need to be focusing on. But Miz just literally comes out of nowhere. I actually have forgot about the man. I thought he was eliminated, but he comes up and he just throws Dolph Ziggler, who was it? It was actually Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus at the end, right?
I do want to make sure I quote myself here. At the beginning at 10 p.m., I put, I'm taking Bo Dallas to win, but the smart money is on Mike the Miz. All right? Then I follow up at 10:08. I watch. 10:08. The match ends at 10:20. At 10:08, your evil genius says, watch heel Ziggler look to have won, and Mike the Miz toss him over. I called it. I said it. It was perfectly done. Now, I sat here 2 weeks ago and said that, I thought that Mike the Miz should be a horseman. And Dolph Ziggler should be a horseman. By the way, in the last week, Ric Flair said he would manage Dolph Ziggler in a heartbeat. I said he would be the J.J. Dillon. And Arn Anderson said that Dolph Ziggler belongs as a horseman. I called that 2 weeks ago. Just for the record, we have it on audio. But it makes sense to have The Miz for a couple of reasons. One, you got money in a movie coming out. You need to have it pushed a little bit. And he's the star of the movie. You got money into it. You got to do so. And what a damn dirty, slimy, scummy way to win a title. I thought it was beautifully done in that aspect. It was cheap. It was dirty. It was heel. It was true to what a heel does. He tried to get Sheamus earlier in the night, couldn't quite do it, got pushed out underneath the bottom rope, stayed there. Came back in, tried to do it again, something else again, couldn't do it, got under the bottom rope, stayed there. I thought it was just a brilliantly done little angle. Everybody wanted Dolph Ziggler. What a stab in the heart of the internet wrestling community, wasn't it? That was Triple H. I'm telling you, that's Triple H saying, screw you, I'm going to ruin your boy just when you think that he won.
I don't know what it is, man, but there's something about The Miz. I mean, for me, Miz has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and when it's counted the most, it just seems like he always falls flat. I still go back to that infamous match that he and R-Truth had. What were they called? Awesome Truth, and they had took on The Rock, and who was The Rock's partner? CM Punk, right?
I don't recall.
Somebody will refresh my memory. I know it, but I mean, Miz has had so many opportunities, and I'm just looking at this, and I'm just saying to myself, okay, are we really repeating the same old? This is where I honestly got a little frustrated and said, we're repeating the same old crap, because you've got guys that have proved that they have a good, strong backing behind them in a Bo Dallas, hell, in a Sheamus, hell, in a Cesaro. You couldn't go with...
Cesaro was almost my sneaky pick. I really thought Cesaro could be, but he's gotten lost over the last couple of months since his victory at WrestleMania. Dolph Ziggler screwed up with Sheamus on 2 occasions in that final minute or so in the match. He does incredible bumps. He is just too... he improvs too much. He bounces too much. He's over the top, and he almost hurt himself and Sheamus at that end spot. and that's why he's not getting pushed. It has nothing to do with lack of talent, lack of ability. I think he just is too reckless, which is why he's gotten hurt on several occasions. I put him on him. I don't put him on anybody else. I put him on him. That's why he's not getting pushed.
What about Bo
I
Dallas?
think it's him. Bo Dallas, I think that they're too early on him. I think he's only been he's what 10-0 in WWE Raw, and they're screwing that up already. I mean, they shouldn't have had him out there with Daniel Bryan a few weeks ago. I think they've gotten kind of lost in that character. It's a good gimmick. It's a good character. I play it out. I said 2 weeks ago that I think you should put the Intercontinental title on him because what the hell? Let's give him a 3 or 4 week run, lead up to SummerSlam, see how he does with the pressure, see how he does with the title, see how the fans react to him, and then if it isn't working, then you just do a quick turnaround at SummerSlam and put it on somebody else. Right. So I was, it would have made it would have been okay with me. Sheamus, I agree with you. I thought the same thing. Would make sense. Sheamus, you unify that title, get rid of that United States title. They haven't, fully gotten rid of the big gold belt yet either. Still 2 titles around John Cena's neck. As I just gave away the main event. But, if you didn't watch Battleground, pretend I didn't say that. Right. But there's you can make the argument for almost any guy into that battle royal. It just who's your favorite. So I can make an argument for everyone. I can make an argument against every one of them. Miz, there's a reason that Miz wins it because they did exactly what they wanted to do, and that was piss you off. They pissed you off. And you obviously care enough to be pissed about it. If people were like, whatever, I care, I don't care, then I have a good friend of mine who out in Illinois said if Miz wins, I'm turning it off. Miz won, he turned it off. And Jason, you're going to listen to the show either right now or later on. I'm talking about you. There's a hatred there for Miz, and that's an emotion. I think Miz's big moment was at WrestleMania, and The Rock screws up the main event because it's about Rock. He ruins that WrestleMania, and that was Miz's opportunity to look great. And what do you remember? You don't remember Miz. You remember Rock screwed Cena. Against who? I don't know. Was that Miz that year? Yeah, I guess it was Miz. So Miz has got talent. I think they need to do something a little bit different. I want the name Miz gone. Give him something a little bit more legitimate. Make him a freaking horseman, and let's do it. Let's bring Flair in. He runs that. Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Curtis Axel. There's your horseman. 2014. Let's run with it. And if Miz can't do that, if he can't be handed the horseman with Ric Flair, then his ass ought to go down to Ring of Honor.
They would eat him alive. He would not make it in ROH.
You saw how well Zack Ryder lasted in that Battle Royal too, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I'm still tripping over Miz. I'm like, look. You try to start the Miz off real nice and slow in ROH. You put him up against Cheeseburger, and Miz is going to be like, where'd he go?
Right.
Yeah, they got rid of. It's so funny that we were talking about Zack Ryder too, because we see all the entrances come out and everything, and my girlfriend goes, "Oh, it's Zack Ryder." She goes, he ain't gonna win that. And I'm like, you are so right. I'm like, high five.
Hey, he wasn't the first one eliminated, though. I mean, he's moving up. He's usually the first guy they kick out.
Yeah, who was the first one eliminated? Was it Great Khali?
No, Khali came out third. I didn't write down all of those limited. Who was the first one they threw? I don't remember. I just remember that he was the second one tossed out. I mentioned it to my wife that at least he didn't go out first. Khali, I mean, My God, that's just they pulled out the encyclopedia of how to run a battle royal. Big man gets jumped. Big man pushes 19 other guys to the ground. Big man does his signature move. In this case, it was his kung fu chop. Kali chop. He's chopping everybody. It's just a typical battle royal playbook. It was somewhat ridiculous. I think Tommy Dreamer tweeted tonight he's never been a big fan of titles given out during battle royals. It cheapens the belt, and he's right. He's right. They could have done something else. They could have had a fatal four-way. They could have had any other number of matches. A battle royal, honest and truly, is lazy. It is a lazy match. It is a lazy. Just got tweeted by Juggalo X13. It was Woods who was out first. Xavier Woods was out first in the battle royal. But
they will put the brother. Huh? They will put the brother out.
Well, it's a racist company, I think. Michael Hayes was probably booking that match.
Hey, Titus, it really reaffirms that Atlantic article that came out a couple of weeks back talking about minorities having it bad in the WWE. Who's the first person to get eliminated? Ease on down the road. We see the Wiz, Xavier Woods, go out.
Oh, Lord. Oh, you did not do that. So we're bookend. The Battle Royal is bookend with the Wiz and the Miz, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I think this show has officially gone to the crapper now.
Well, good night, folks. Nice.
Thanks very much. I gave away the ending already, so.
Oh Lord.
I'm not a big fan of battle royals in that aspect. I mean, you look at some of the stuff. You looked at the big guy Ryback. Oh my God! I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He was heaving and he was blown up. And for you guys who don't know what that means, blown up means he was sucking wind. He was going to die right there, and that's because he's not conditioned for those. He's not conditioned well. He needs to have corner drills. Anyways, terrible match overall. It wasn't a great battle royal. The only thing that stands out, Kofi Kingston is amazing when it comes to a battle royal. He's always doing something amazing. He's always doing something that tonight he gets thrown over the top rope and lands right on Big E's shoulders. Tremendous deal there with him and Cesaro. Cesaro almost got put out, grabbed a hold of Kingston's hair so he wouldn't fall over. It was just a neat little exchange there between, I think, two very talented young men in Cesaro and Kofi. That's the one thing that stands out in my mind.
Yeah, I wish they would have handled that Intercontinental Championship better because, okay, you're trying to tell me that this belt is so important, right? And, I mean, it just kind of showed a little bit of tackiness with regards to this type of match for the title, because it's like, wait a minute, man, this is a championship. Other than the WWE Championship, this belt's been around for almost 75 years. First Intercontinental Champion, as we're always reminded, Pat Patterson. We're reminded that.
Oh, I didn't know that. You never know those kind of things, do you?
Right. It's like okay, so we're supposed to forget about all this when they do a 20-man over-the-top rope battle royal.
And they're trying to sell the importance of the title. 12 Hall of Famers have held this title. Right, and so we're just going to toss it up to the, whoever, it's like throwing scraps to in a group of hungry people. Whoever gets the scraps wins the food. That's the problem with battle royals. Battle royals, typically, if you're looking from an indie wrestling perspective, and that's my world, it's an opportunity to give everybody who came to the show a spot in the show. We've got 10 matches and 30 workers. We'll have a battle royal just to give everybody a chance to make $5. That's what a battle royal truly is. It's just an opportunity to get some work in. It's not a great storyline builder. And so it was a throwaway, and there's a throwaway for the Intercontinental Championship, and that was it.
Yeah, yeah. On the bright spot, at least we got to see Wade Barrett.
We got to see Wade Barrett, and a tweet from at Cyrus the Virus said, "How about that pop for Heath Slater?" And you got to say, there was a hell of a pop for Heath Slater during that Battle Royal.
Yeah, there was. There was. Let's see something happen with him. I would have expected him to rise up by now, since he's been separated from Jinder Mahal and
He had
Drew
some
McIntyre.
dead weight removed from him. He had some things removed in surgery. Yeah, maybe that was, if you listen to, if you're truly a wrestling person and you're in the back and you're in creative and you hear that pop, maybe you go, okay, well, that was interesting. Maybe we do something with him.
Give him 5 minutes to talk on the microphone. You can have it be during a Raw commercial break, but we can see it on the WWE app just to see how it goes, right? And you could just basically see him cut one passionate promo talking about that dead weight that you mentioned, and pretty much from here on now, things are going to go to a different beat. He's his own man. He's the one-man band again. You know, be some good stuff if they did it right.
Yeah. And he's a good worker. He's good on the mic. He's got the ability. I think one of my favorite things with him was leading up to WrestleMania. It was a year ago or 2 years ago when he was getting beaten up by all the legends. He's willing to do all the spots that are necessary. There was a lot of people in there that you could give a shot to. But you got to remember, you only have so many slots. You've only got so many,
Yeah.
and the mid card. That's the problem with the mid card division is you've got guys who, all of them are really pretty good. And let's be real, right now the mid card division has only a couple guys on top, and one is Seth Rollins and one is Dean Ambrose, and they're the top end of that mid card division right now.
Main event match time. Let's talk about it. Come on, let's be for real. Come on, guys, be for real. Did you honestly expect for there to be a new WWE champion when it was all said and done? I mean, this is still a pay-per-view that hasn't really proven itself in the pay-per-view buy rates. Did you honestly expect for John Cena to drop the strap? Titus, rumors were
3 or 4 weeks after having it, right?
Right.
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Let's just make the face of the WWE, the guy who sells more T-shirts and towels.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, towels are where the money is because he and Daniel Bryan sell towels. Yeah, I mean, come on, let's be real here. The only surprise of the main event was there was no surprise.
Yeah.
I thought the tip-off was the fact that during the Battle Royal, Paul Heyman did not come out with his client, Cesaro, which meant I thought, to me, well, if they held him back to keep him out of mind, out of sight, out of mind, don't make you think of his other client. But no, apparently he was during the match. He tweeted halfway through that he was in a plane getting Plan C in case. So is Brock going to be on Monday Night Raw tomorrow night? I don't know. Didn't come tonight though.
That's a damn good question. A lot of people were under the impression that we were going to be seeing a new WWE champion because John Cena is not supposedly now is not going to be on Raw in about 24 hours because he's filming scenes for some movie. But
I've been tweeted that as well. A couple of guys have tweeted that he's not going to be on the next 2 weeks. That he's going to be filming. I got to tell you something about John Cena that he's done in the past. He has filmed scenes and he has flown to Raw and then he's flown back. So is The Rock. So if he's not on, he's not on. Which should be fine because here's what I think. If you're going to put SummerSlam being Brock Lesnar versus John Cena, I don't want them to touch each other until the bell rings at the main event. But let's talk about this four-way match before we get to all that, because it was a pretty decent match overall. It wasn't bad at all. I got to say, the one thing that I took away is that, and I tweeted this out. You saw the beginning of the Roman Empire tonight, because Roman Reigns is the star of the main event. He is something else, and he had the crowd yelling in a John Cena match, "This is awesome." So John can say thank you to Roman Reigns for that, because Roman Reigns was awesome tonight. Just tremendous.
Yeah, good performance tonight. I mean, he really... I was looking for him to show signs of agitation, a little bit of nervousness, but he didn't show that.
Bro.
Very cool. Very cool. It was almost like he's been doing it for years now, being in
his first singles main event. Oh, it's, by the way, it's for the title. Oh, by the way, it's, handled it like a pro, handled it very, very well, and why I believe, and then you see that Cena and Reigns, they're just barely... That's the future of WWE in my mind, is Roman Reigns. Like him or don't like him, he's a Cena kind of guy, whatever. He is, I think, the baton's going to get handed to this kid, and he's got the thoroughbred. He has the genes. He has he's going to be a star if they don't screw that up. But that was a good match. I had Randy Orton and Kane working together to get the title for the Authority, who we did not see tonight, by the way. Really didn't see Stephanie. Triple H only a couple of times breaking up the Rollins and Ambrose fight, but not a quote-unquote spot in the show. I thought was interesting that we didn't get to see Stephanie yammer on tonight about something stupid. But yeah, they were working together. The net blown up. There were no real, other than Roman Reigns, I don't think any real major standout spots that I can think of that really were impressive. Lee, I mean, what did you think?
With regards to what, Titus?
The main event.
Yeah.
Anything that was, other than Roman Reigns, that was really the only thing that was stood out in the match. It was just a regular, good match. It wasn't spectacular.
No, I mean, the one thing that I was just really paying attention to in this match, because in my heart of heart, I knew that John Cena was going to win. My whole focus was on, okay, Roman Reigns is working with not one, not two, but three guys that at one point have been a WWE champion or are currently a WWE champion. They've been involved in the main event picture. My whole thing was, how is Roman Reigns going to be able to handle this? Is he going to botch at any point? And he didn't. And also, this is going to sound like a joke, but I'm not trying to make it a joke. I personally had liked the fact that Randy Orton busted out some new trunks. I mean, navy blue. Nice color there, Randy. Brings out your eyes a little more. No.
Well, there were some Bautista tweets going on. Bautista blue, Randy blue. I think that, honestly, you want to know why I think he wore blue tonight? Because Roman Reigns was in black. And you want to have your own kind of standout. You don't want to wear the same colors. Sometimes you'll see guys at indie shows. They bring multiple. What am I wearing? I'm wearing red. You're wearing red. Okay, I'm not gonna wear. I got my yellow tonight. Made him kind of stand out a little bit from. Tomorrow night on Raw, I'm sure he's back, unless he's in a match with Roman. I just think it was his way of trying to stand out a little different from Roman Reigns, who was already in black.
Now, overall, we already talked about how the pay-per-view was. I believe you gave it, what, a 6.5, or did you say 7?
7.
A 7?
Give it a 7.
I'm going with a 6.5. Definitely better than last year's Battleground. For me, let's home in on these 4 participants in this main event match, because now comes the bigger question, Titus, in setting up SummerSlam. We know Brock Lesnar is on the horizon for John Cena, so that pretty much takes Cena out of the picture. Now we got to look at Roman Reigns. Where does he fit into all this? Does he start feuding with Kane or Randy Orton, or is he feuding with both of them?
I lean towards Orton. I lean towards Orton in that aspect. But, it is SummerSlam. It is a bigger payday. So we've heard talk about Roman Reigns versus Triple H. So that's a possibility too. Triple H, would like to get his hand on a. Let's be real. Triple H has two paychecks coming in. He's got his corporate paycheck and his part-time wrestler contract, and SummerSlam is a bigger payday than Battleground is. So would a Triple H Roman Reigns match be out of the question? No, of course that wouldn't be out of the question. But I think that the obvious answer is going to be against Randy Orton. It just seems like the right matchup.
Boy, I'd pay big money to see Roman Reigns and Triple H, because if you were to go down that route, then basically you can have some type of an angle play out where Roman Reigns is having a mic off with Triple H, and he's talking about how he wants to get his hands on him and all that, and we can kind of see Triple H kind of do to Roman Reigns what he did with Daniel Bryan and tease him a little bit and say, you're not worth my time, little boy, you're not ready for me, or whatever like that. And maybe we could see Roman Reigns do some type of a strong declaration that will make Triple H say, if you can get past Kane and Randy Orton over the next 2 weeks, then yeah, I'll take you on one-on-one. Just be careful what you ask for, because you're going to end up regretting it. And then maybe that's how we can see Titus, Triple H, and Roman Reigns go down. But the million-dollar question, do we really need a Triple H at SummerSlam? I think with the current roster, you don't.
I see. For me, honestly, I would hold Triple H and Roman Reigns till April of next year, and maybe California in some arena someplace out there, like WrestleMania. That's a bigger payday, a bigger event, bigger prestige, and we know that Triple H will put over a young talent. He put over Daniel Bryan. I think that's where you put Roman Reigns over, and officially at that point it becomes the start of that Roman empire that you're going to have. So that's why I'm leaning towards it being Randy Orton. Where do you do with Kane? I don't know what you do with Kane. He's just been really in flux over this whole thing.
I'm tired of Kane, quite honestly.
I never thought I'd say that, but yeah.
I'm tired of him. I just need to see him disappear for a little bit. Go make another See No Evil movie, Hear No Evil, whatever the hell it's called. Go do that. Do you maybe bring Big Show back to feud with Kane or something?
He's making a movie right now. I know that he's gone doing that. I don't know if it makes I had somebody tweet me during Raw about during the pay-per-view about Big Show against Rusev. I think Show is, again, he's in flux. They don't really have I think you're starting to see the tail end. I mean, look at the Big Show is him and Kane are the last remnants of the Attitude Era as a almost full-time worker. Mark Henry is relegated to part-time. Jericho's part-time. Triple H is part-time. Everybody else is pretty much retired. I mean, you're looking at Show and Kane being the last few remaining regular roster guys, and it might be time.
Yeah.
You're going to keep the Big Show around as much as you possibly can because he's a draw. He's the Big Show. But it might be, and Glenn Jacob has other career in mind. I think he's gonna be in politics in the near future anyway. So,
God, I hope so, man.
He's gonna run for governor of was it Tennessee, Kentucky, something like that.
Yeah, as soon as you said governor, Jesse the Body Ventura just popped up in my mind, and he's just
he's not crazy like Jesse.
I love how I miss Jesse Ventura commentating, man.
Man, sitting back this last weekend and watching the network and seeing Saturday Night Main Event and watching Vince McMahon and Jesse the Body. That was my childhood growing up. Every Saturday for Superstars, and that one Saturday night my old man would let me stay up till midnight to watch Saturday Night's Main Event and watching the formation of the Mega Powers. And Jesse Ventura was great.
Yeah, Jesse was awesome. Well, you know something, McMahon? I'm really going to be paying attention to this match. I love Jesse.
Yeah, he was always coming back to take on Hogan, you know?
Yeah. Love that man.
So setting up for SummerSlam, I think obviously we're going to look at Brock and Cena going forward. We're going to see, I think Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. What happens with the Intercontinental title? Are you going to run with Miz and Ziggler?
That sounds about right, yeah.
I mean, you know, do you throw Sheamus in the mix and try to unify that thing? Sheamus was at the end. He might feel like he was screwed a little bit. Who knows? I mean, but it looks like Miz and Ziggler, which is good for Ziggler, getting in the mix a little bit.
I need to see something happen with that United States Championship. I need to see some type of a new threat come to Sheamus. I need to see somebody come up to him and say, you shouldn't be worried about the Intercontinental Championship right now. You need to be worried about defending that United States Championship. And, you know, quite honestly, you haven't been doing a good job defending it. And, you know, I need to see something like that happen because you had the opportunity here to have Sheamus walk away with both belts. Okay, so it's obvious by Miz hanging on to the Intercontinental Championship, Sheamus still the United States Championship. Okay, it looks like they aren't entertaining the idea of retiring one of the belts anytime soon. So on that note, something needs to happen to that United States title because, Titus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the last time Sheamus had defended it, I think it was like about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago on an episode of Main Event, and then like a little bit before that, you had to kind of go several weeks back. So it's been sporadic, him defending the title here and there. I can't even recall the last time the United States title was defended on a pay-per-view now. Can you?
No. Dean Ambrose lost it on Raw in a Battle Royal, and that was the first time he defended it in, you know, months.
Mm-hmm. Be prepared, folks. There's going to be a lot of rematches coming up at this SummerSlam pay-per-view, and a lot of you may be a little bit infuriated by that. I can definitely understand your frustrations. But look at it this way. If it is going to be a bunch of rematches, hopefully the second go-round, the people that we all collectively would want to see walk away with a win is going to get that win. Otherwise, I would imagine the internet wrestling community, Titus, is going to be pretty pissed off.
Well, just doing my notes right here, 6 matches that I think are going to happen. Obviously, main event's going to be John Cena, Brock Lesnar. Co-main event, Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. Rusev and Swagger will probably be a follow-up. AJ and Paige will be a follow-up, most likely. Somehow, I got to imagine the Usos and the Wyatts will go at it again. That's where the Wyatts will get the tag team titles. Mm-hmm. And Jericho versus Bray Wyatt. So there's 6 that I think you only have a card of 8, 9, or 10. So there's 6 of them right there, and of them, you know, 4 of them took place tonight, which is okay. Which is okay because part of the whole build of a storyline is, you know, you got to have a payoff at the end of this storyline stuff.
Yeah, you do. Let's get to you guys' comments and see what y'all had to say with regards to tonight's pay-per-view here. A lot of good activities coming in here. Remember, if you want to get involved, post those comments down below. Hit us up on Twitter. You can hit up Titus at Evil Genius Titus. You can hit us up at the RCWR Show. And if you're enjoying our recap and review, please make sure you give this piece a thumbs up. If you haven't already, you know, give it a thumbs up. Share it by retweeting it, Facebooking it, Google+. Great way to spread the word of our content. Spencer.
MySpace. Go do the MySpace, too. Do the whole thing.
Yeah, do everything. MySpace, Instagram, all that crazy crap. Spencer. I love Spencer. I love people named Spencer. As much as I can't stand Cena, I'm not mad that he won because I knew he would win. I am pissed off, though, that Lesnar did not come in after the match and attack Cena to set up SummerSlam. Have a little bit of patience, my friend.
I'm not upset. You know, he's done that once. He did that already after Mania. Let's not have these two touch until the show. Let's keep them apart. Let's make it feel like a big time event. Let's not cheapen it with these lame bump in run type stuff. I'm okay. I was surprised he didn't show up and make his voice known, but maybe there's something better coming along.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like, Spencer, I feel your frustration, man, but like I'm a big comic book buff. explaining some of this quirky stuff behind me here. Look at John Cena and Brock Lesnar as Superman versus Doomsday 3. Okay, y'all know the infamous Superman storyline where Doomsday killed him, and that set up the whole reign of the Superman imposters and all that. I agree with Titus. You want to keep the two guys separated. Look at the mystique that has been built around Brock Lesnar. This is a guy that took away the Undertaker's streak. You can't just have Brock Lesnar show up at a pay-per-view like Battleground and just, oh, he's going to own Cena, because then you guys are going to be expecting for this to continue leading up to the pay-per-view event, and you're saying to yourselves, wow, why should I check this out when Brock Lesnar looks like he's owning John Cena every single week? It looks like a foregone conclusion that Brock Lesnar is going to win. So you're going to have that audience that's going to complain that John Cena is getting his butt whooped too many times by Brock Lesnar. But then if you try to flip it a little bit and you have 1 week and where John Cena physically owns Brock Lesnar, and you're going to have the audience that's going to complain, well, wait a minute, this guy had beat Undertaker. He should be built to look really strong, really dominant right now. That really doesn't look too good. So, Titus, I'm with you, man, all the way. Don't let these two guys touch one another until the SummerSlam pay-per-view event. You can definitely have these two guys maybe do some type of a contract signing.
There'll be a contract signing.
Yeah, let them do a contract
absolutely.
Signing. Let them do a contract signing. Just say
that's the week before. Yeah.
Just say don't touch each other. You can say to John Cena, if you touch Brock Lesnar, you're going to be stripped of your championship belts. Brock Lesnar, if you touch John Cena, you not only are you going to get hit with $100,000 fine, because we know we pay you good money like that, you're also going to be suspended indefinitely, and you're never going to get another shot at a WWE championship. Let them do a contract.
But also to go to this question, we've already seen that.
That is
true.
So
let's not rehash what we've sat, and I know there's people right now going, oh, but I want to see Cena get destroyed. We've already seen that. So if you want to see Cena destroyed, let's do something original.
I'm with you 100%. Hellbound of Justice. As soon as Heath Slater eliminated Cesaro, I was pissed, but I knew Miz was going to win. When Big E trucked him out of the ring, I just gave up and thought, at least I can tell Lee that I called it 2 weeks ago. Oh, and with the Russian flag thing, when Angle comes out to take him down, it might be cool to have the flag above the ring. Surprise, it's really the U.S. flag. Well, that's a good point.
That's a good point. Good point. It would be nice.
Yeah.
We have to wait. We have to wait until like late September or October for that can happen. But
yeah. Marcus, hi Marcus. I actually know somebody named Marcus. You're not the Marcus I know though, but I like you, Marcus. You're cool. Wyatts are officially buried and out of the tag title picture with second straight pay-per-view loss to the Usos. Have no fear. SummerSlam, they should get the tag titles. If they don't, then we need to have a different conversation.
I'm going to throw a wrinkle at you, though, and this is just coming to my mind, because he might be right. They could be buried in this thing. What are your thoughts, Lee, on the Ascension?
Oh, that's a team that I almost forgot about. And it's funny you mentioned that because I was watching NXT for like the first time over the weekend in like a couple of weeks, and I was actually looking for the Ascension, and I was quite disappointed too because NXT kind of sucked this week. Wow. Yes, I would love that. So basically, like what? The Ascension takes the tag belts away from the Usos, and like basically that would set up the Ascension taking on the Wyatt family?
I don't know if you see that quite yet. I think that...
Or the Ascension just...
The Ascension come in and say, you're putting the Usos over, how they beat the Wyatts, they're this tag team, they've held the tag team 100 and how many days, and then of course you have the Ascension make a run in with the NXT titles, saying who they are. That might be interesting, but I still think the Wyatts and the Usos are going to have another match at SummerSlam. It's typical WWE. You got something that works. You have a recipe that tastes good. You're going to cook it as many times as you can until people absolutely don't want to eat it anymore. And the Usos and the Wyatts are putting on good matches time and time again. We're going to eat it one more time, most likely. So you might want to, grab your fork and your spoon. You're going to have it at SummerSlam. I can't imagine you not.
I can see a scenario playing out where Harper and Rowan take the tag titles from the Usos, and then they go on a nice little hot streak. And the question is asked, is there anybody that can take these tag belts away from the Wyatt family? And then you have the Ascension come up. And
That'd be weird because it's two heel teams.
yeah, but they are so over as baby faces in NXT. I mean, you might as well bring them up as baby faces.
Yeah, but they are a heel. I mean, they're packaged as a heel team, and they're over, but they're packaged as a heel team. It's interesting. If you're going to have the Ascension, which you've seen, tweets and rumors, and it's against the Usos because the Usos are pure baby versus they're pure heel, and I think it works better. I hope that the Wyatts didn't get buried because of the Ascension, but it could be a possibility.
It could be a damn good possibility, yeah. Steven, what's up, buddy? Hey, Lee and Titus, key point tonight. The Miz won in ridiculous fashion, like always. WWE are really trying to get boos for The Miz, and it's not just happening with the Hollywood gimmick. I feel sorry for Dolph to have to lose like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves WWE. Rollins and Ambrose, the best feud right now, even though you got cut off there to see their match, but Ambrose getting kicked out and then coming back in the building to fight Rollins was awesome. The title match was slow at first, but it did pick up. A good match, but not a surprise Cena wins, but the match of the night goes to the Usos versus Luke and Rowan. Man, these guys are awesome. Great match. I hope the face... Yeah, you did say that. I hope the face at SummerSlam... Oh, wait. Let's back up, Steven. You must have had a late night, buddy. Let me see if I can clean that up for you. I hope they face off at SummerSlam is what you're trying to say, because this feud is really good, but overall this pay-per-view was better than last year's. Can't wait for SummerSlam.
Lot there to digest. I think that, the Miz won in crappy fashion, and it was booked that way on purpose. He's a heel. He's dirty. He's underhanded. He can't beat anybody legitimately, and so he takes a dirty tactic. That's what heels do. So in the grand scheme of professional wrestling, that was beautiful. Now, we can argue all day long about who goes over, but how he went over was the best way to put over The Miz. Ziggler leaving, the question is, where would he go? There's the question. That's the problem you have right now is there's no place to go. And I don't need any of the tweets. He can go to TNA, and really because Dixie's doing a great stuff in TNA, and we're getting great ratings and great pushes for a lot of great guys because Matt Hardy is going to be on Impact next week. So let's not talk about Matt and Jeff reuniting and how great TNA is doing young stars because that's not happening there either. So at the very least, at least Dolph Ziggler is working in the major leagues.
How do you think he would fare, though, in ROH or Dragon Gate Evolve? You think he'd do okay?
My argument on Ziggler is we look at Ring of Honor and you look at, Dragon Gate, and I've done Dragon Gate shows out in California. It is perfect wrestling. It's perfect. The moves are done in a certain way. Ziggler improvises a little bit too much. It throws your timing off. I mentioned 2 weeks ago on Raw when he was facing against Randy Orton and he's going to go for the RKO. He took a funny bounce off the rope after he just improvises a little too much. He bounces a little too much. He's a little out of sync timing, and that's a problem for certain people. And I don't think he would fit in that straight line sort of professional wrestling is done A, B, and C sort of mentality. especially Dragon Gate. I just don't see him doing well there at all. He's perfect for WWE. He's got baggage.
Yeah, yeah. Sebastian, Battleground was boring. Cena won. Yeah, same old crap. Rusev versus Swagger was okay. AJ versus Page was good. I thought the Battleground was boring, but Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose was awesome. Their brawls were awesome, and I see them facing each other at SummerSlam for the Money in the Bank briefcase. That would really make things very interesting.
I'm going to argue because that's what I do. How is it a boring? But this was good. That was okay. This was awesome. This was. It has to be better than boring because you liked half of it already. So let's take the I hate Cena winning and it ruins everything out of the equation. Cena has to win if he's gonna face Lesnar at SummerSlam and lose to Lesnar. If he doesn't get through Battleground, he doesn't get to SummerSlam. Doesn't get to SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar can't beat him and be champ. Let's be real. For those of you that want John Cena to lose, him winning tonight was perfect for you because you want to see him get his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, right? So we expected it. You should have been happy that he won tonight, so you can see Lesnar beat the crap out of him in 4 weeks or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I see a few of the same theme. The pay-per-view was...
I got an interesting question here. This is from Cody Brown, CP Brown, 1993. My question is, when was the last time Cena pushed anyone? Because I feel like that's why no one is getting over now. I can tell you exactly when. SummerSlam 2013, a little guy named Daniel Bryan beats John Cena for the WWE Championship. Now, what happened 5 minutes after that is Triple H, sending Randy Orton out there and all that. But let's be honest. Let me open the curtain for a second, okay? Yes, John Cena has a lot of stroke. That's what you are when you're the top guy in a company. But he doesn't sit there and say, I'm going to screw every one of these guys over. That's not how a locker room works, guys. Because if it's a whole show. If it's I'm going to screw everybody over because I'm the man and I'm going to get everything, then people turn off. And people aren't turning off. Ratings are where they are. They haven't changed a lot over the last couple of years. They are what they are. So you're not turning it off. In fact, you're watching it still so you can yell at the TV because you hate John Cena. That's still watching. If you truly want to have a movement, turn it off. Turn it off. Don't buy the network. Don't watch it on YouTube. Don't watch it. Don't tweet about it. Don't talk about it. Don't go to the water cooler. Just don't watch it. Then real change can happen. But you care enough about it. You hate John Cena, and that's an emotion. So I don't think John Cena buries anybody. All right? I just don't see that's not how wrestling works. It's not how it works. Does he have stroke? Yes, he can make his point. He can say I'm doing this, but he doesn't bury people because he's an asshole.
Yeah,
language.
I definitely no, that's fine. I definitely want to follow up on that, and I mean not just with Daniel Bryan. To go back to the whole stroke thing, Big E Langston at one point was white hot, and I don't know if many of you all are aware of it, but John Cena, Big E Langston, they're buddies. They work out all the time and all that. So that kind of explains early on there, like right around when Big E Langston had joined AJ Lee, Dolph Ziggler. That was because John Cena had put in the word and said, look, you guys need to elevate this guy. He's definitely, going to be going places. And the way it's kind of looking right now, they did the Big E experiment. Doesn't really look like it's going anywhere, and now they kind of backed away from him a little bit. Zack Ryder has said this many times. We actually had interviewed Adam O'Reilly, who's a best friend of Zack Ryder's, who kind of echoed the same sentiments that John Cena, he got whiff of Zack Ryder's internet shows and all that, and really saw that there was some true talent there with him, and he actually went to bat for Zack Ryder, and that's why we saw him in that position of, oh, hey, looks like Zack Ryder's getting some TV time. He's rubbing elbows with John Cena and all that. Whereas a lot of you basically looked at it as an opportunity of John Cena trying to make himself look cool and relevant because, oh, he did this for Zack. No, John Cena, the guy you see doing the whole Make-A-Wish, and he's just running around and giving nice, cool interviews. He's being professional, very polite. That's a genuine guy that you see. To a certain extent, he's bringing that same level of positive energy into the WWE, but, as much as I would like to see, God, Big E Langston as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, or Mark Henry as the WWE Champion, or Kane as the WWE Champion, those are just a few examples. I can go over a long list. There's a reason why we don't see that, because at the end of the day, they have to be very stubborn. They have to go, okay, you know what? I'm looking at this person, but I'm not quite sure. Let's see if, they pass the test by having them be in these type of weird positions. Good example, Damian Sandow. A lot of people say, oh, he's done, he's buried, he's the laughing stock, he pissed off somebody. No, he's in a phase right now where he's being tested. We've seen it done before in the past. We shouldn't have to name it names, all right? You should be able, if you're a true wrestling historian, you should be able to go, you know what, we've kind of seen similar bearings or wrestler going through gimmicks, and they ended up coming out on top in the very end. Look at the period there where after the curtain call, Titus, Triple H, he was eating crap for a good minute. I mean,
big time.
This guy was being tested like I don't know what, and he could have cracked at any moment and said, F this, I'm giving Ted Turner and them a phone call, I'm heading on over to WCW, the landscape.
He had buddies over there, he could have done that pretty easy.
He could have done it, and he would have been okay over there, but he sucked it up, he went through it, and this was all before he started dating Stephanie. Eventually, he came out on top. And I will dare say there will come a time, if not before this calendar year is out, definitely within, I will say, the first quarter of 2015, there's going to be another name that we're going to be adding to the list of John Cena putting over, and that's going to be Roman Reigns.
Yep. Already started.
It's already started. That's right. They've been teasing like a mother. So.
And don't get me wrong. Lee is not the biggest Cena fan. I am more of a Cena fan, but we both agree that he should have lost to Bray Wyatt. We both agree that, it's a little bit much. I get it. I understand. But in the end of the day, you do what the promoter tells you to do. And the promoter is still Vince McMahon and the creative team. At the end of the day, Vince still says yes or no to every single segment. So he's the promoter. The promoter says, I want you to go out there and juggle for 16 minutes. Do you go out and you freaking juggle for 16 minutes? Because that's who signed your paycheck.
Exactly.
So Vince still has the stroke. That's if your argument's with anybody, it's with Vince McMahon.
Exactly. And to follow up on what Titus said earlier, and I've been saying that for the longest time, Titus, if you have a problem with John Cena or you have a problem with any segment involving a particular wrestler that you do not enjoy, you're tired of them getting camera time, you don't want them to have a push, the greatest power that you have is in the power of your hands. It's called the remote control. As soon as you see whatever segment you're not feeling, change the channel. Make sure you're not buying the merchandise for you and your kids. That sends a powerful message to WWE. They pay attention to that little silly crap.
Funny that you say that because, there was a point where WWE was selling, hustle, loyalty, respect T-shirts on one side of the counter, and on the other side, Cena sucks. And a lot of people were buying those Cena sucks T-shirts, and John was going, damn, I suck. 100, 200, 300. He's counting the $100 bills because you guys are putting money in his pocket. So you have the power, man. They watched the quarter hours. They watched those ratings to the nth degree. The Nielsen ratings are a big deal. Turn it off. They're gonna know.
Turn it off. Turn it off. That's all I gotta say. Turn it off.
All right. Anything else on there?
Let's see. I'm skimming through the rest of this. It's a bunch of the same old. To answer your question, Adam A., what happened to Stardust and Goldust? There was a brief little cameo, little promo. Nothing much you can really sink your teeth into, but their little promos are growing on me. That's all I got to say about that.
They're wearing off on me. I told you a couple weeks ago I'm starting to feel this, and now I'm getting a little bored with it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going anywhere yet.
It doesn't. I'm only going to read two more because I really don't see anything like juicy to like really talk about. And that's no disrespect to you guys. I'm not saying that your comments are boring or anything. I just don't really see anything that we should spend a couple of minutes talking about. However, I always reply to every single one of you that comments. If I don't do it tonight, I'll definitely respond to you guys individually in the morning. Tim, you had something interesting I thought was kind of eye-catching. Love the pay-per-view matches. I like the most Bray versus Jericho. Main event was on fire. Tonight I'm so pumped. Cena winning is not what I wanted, but the match was good. Roman was dominant. 8 out of 10. Good show, Lee. All right.
Roman Reigns was awesome, and I just can't keep saying that enough. It stole the show, stole the match.
He was awesome. Bullet Club. I'm upset that Ziggler didn't get the win, but at the same time, I like how Miz got the W. Makes you want to punch that little bastard. Frickin' Miz. Laugh out loud. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly the reason they did it.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm going to refresh this one more time. Charles had something interesting to say. He said that was a horrible show. Come on, WWE. That garbage won't get you subscribers. I don't know about all that, but yeah, whatever. Refresh here. Titus, I think we did a good show. I'm refreshing here, and it doesn't look like anybody has anything really eye-catching this go-round. All right, Cordarius. Just because your name is Cordarius. WWE has the talent, but the creative writers are terrible. Usos are getting boring. Wyatt should have won. Why is Jericho beating Bray Wyatt? Bray is one of the hottest superstars in the WWE, and you're burying him slowly for zero reason. The U.S. Championship is irrelevant. Why Sheamus isn't heel? And for the 750th millionth time, Super Cena wins again. I really hope WWE stocks keep going lower and lower so Vince and Triple H can wake up and get it.
So I wanted to make a comment about what I'm just moving on. I missed last week, so I didn't get a chance to get asked a question that you wanted to ask me about the big moment from last week's Raw.
Let's tease them with that. Let's talk about it tomorrow or later tonight.
It is tomorrow, isn't it?
It is tomorrow.
All right. Tomorrow night after Monday Night Raw, you want to log on, listen to, of course, a great breakdown of Monday Night Raw, but also Lee's going to ask me my thoughts on the very first debut of a new WWE rookie, the 54-year-old Sting. So I have an opinion, and it may surprise some of you.
Yeah, all I got to say is, woo! That's all I got to say. We did good, man. We went into some...
Showtime, folks.
That's a good show. We did a good show tonight, man. All right, so for those of you that's wanting to check this out on the downloads, it's almost 1 a.m. Give me about 25, 30 minutes. I'm going to whip it up, jazz it up, put some music behind it, and you guys just have fun, enjoy. Also, if you have any questions you'd like for us to address on Monday's show, keep the questions down below, post them there, or you can hit us up on Twitter at the RCWR Show. Hit up Titus at Evil Genius, and we'll definitely tally them all up so that we can do a good portion of the show answering you all's questions here. That's going to do it. We did a pretty good job. All right, so he's Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders here. We will be back at, 11:15 p.m. Eastern after Raw has gone off the air right here on YouTube. So join us.
22 hours.
About like 22 hours. Yeah, join us for that. It'll be awesome. That's going to do it. He's Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders, wishing all y'all to have a very safe good night, good morning, and we'll do this again in a little bit. Everybody take care.
Goodbye.